The bullets and the punches and the riots have been flowing in only one direction for too long.
I've been trying to tell you guys this whole time how corrupt all of these things were, and here we are.
It is not our responsibility to fix something they spent years intentionally trying to destroy. Unity can only happen in a country when you have a people who agree on what the outcome should be. Yes, we're ready to open the show. Doug, Sandy, we were right on time. 9 o'clock. What's up, everybody? Happy Trump Speaking Live Wednesday.
Is he coming out now?
I don't know.
Is he on time?
He's out now.
Is he on time?
He's out now.
Crap. All right, here we
now.
go. Hold on. I'll change the format. Everyone, Trump is on time. Oh, snap. You need to take that off there. Take that off and put the, there we go. Nom knows what he's doing. He's a tech genius.
Unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans.
Can you guys hear it?
Yep.
This happened.
Can you guys hear?
Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again. We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody, crime at record levels, with law enforcement, and words such as that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world, but they're not laughing anymore. Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history. There's never been anything like it, and I think most would agree. I was elected in a landslide, winning the popular vote and all 7 swing states and everything else, with a mandate to take on a sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people. For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been allowed into our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%. We have broken the grip of sinister woke radicals in our schools, and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states where education belongs. After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, we have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East, and secured the release of the hostages, both living and dead. Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast. Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22% and in many states 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%. Now under our leadership, they are all coming down and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policy boosting take-home pay at a historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000. Under Trump, the typical factory worker has seen a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,300. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation. Remember that. The wages, just look at it. Wages are going up much faster than inflation. How big is that? Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100% of all jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs. And that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen. AI, automobiles, we're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it. 1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. Cylinders. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress. Probably be taking notes. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between
blue Democrat, blue governors are
$20,000 a year,
raising their state
is
taxes.
projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend.
Getting a bonus.
In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along.
Love it.
Nobody deserves it more than our military. And I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military. And last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interests to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%. In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward. And I used the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this.
You can tell this guy's getting fired up for election season.
They stopped ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up, but now they'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible. It's called Most Favored Nation. And no president has ever had the courage or ability to get this done until now. The first of these unprecedented price reductions will be available starting in January through a new website, TrumpRx.gov. And these big price cuts will greatly reduce the cost of health care. I'm also taking on the gigantic health insurance companies that have gotten rich on billions of dollars of money that should go directly to the people. The money should go to the people. That's you. So they can buy their own health insurance, which will give far.
Oh, no. Did we lose Nom?
We
No.
did. What happened?
Where'd you go? He's the one that has the stream.
Uh-oh.
No. Nom, if you hear me, push pause. Push pause. Hold on. I'm going to text him. This is cray cray. Hold on. Nom, pause the live stream. Oh, there he is. He's back. Come on, Nom, get back in here. Nom, did you break something? Did you get the pinwheel?
Don't touch it.
He was having some pinwheel problems.
I didn't touch anything.
Losers will be insurance companies
died on
that
me.
have gotten rich, and the Democrat Party,
good?
which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, but that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost. Another major focus is the cost of energy. For years, the radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically drove up prices, and they drove them up at record levels. Electricity costs surged 30 to 100% under Biden, and the typical family lost $5,000 to $10,000 in higher energy costs. Think of that, $5,000 to $10,000 you lost. On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon.
That's right.
And within the next 12 months, we will have opened 1,600 new electrical generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody, or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. The Democrat inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream. The yearly cost of a typical new mortgage increased by $15,000 under
Unbelievable.
Democrat rule. In 11
BlackRock
months,
and
we've already
Vanguard.
gotten that annual cost down by $3,000, and it's coming down a lot lower. Wait till you see. The numbers are going to be shocking. And I'll soon announce our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Early the new year, and you will see this, in the new year, I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants.
That's
At
right.
the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants.
Right.
That's
Since
right.
I took office,
100% to native.
100% of all net job
Yes.
creation has gone to American-born citizens. 100%.
It's not
Indian
just in the
government
last year.
Either serves the
That
productive,
goes back to
patriotic,
2018.
hardworking American citizen, or it
100% to
serves those
foreign-born.
who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians
Oh,
have
yeah.
taken over the economics of the
Not
state
just
and
Minnesota.
have stolen billions
Nope.
and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the
Dearborn,
United
Columbus,
States of
Maine,
America. And we're going to put an end
Georgia.
to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected, and our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Soon we will host the World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
Yes. So I guess Tucker was wrong. Is that what we're
So
saying?
wrong.
Tucker was wrong. Is that what happened?
I think Tucker was wrong. Nom was wrong. Oh, shoot. Oh, no.
All of your things disappeared.
They all disappeared. We're going to have to
Uh-oh.
redo all of them.
Put them back up there. I got stuff to say.
Oh,
That
my
was a campaign speech.
goodness gracious.
Donald Trump just launched the 2026 midterm election cycle with an absolute blistering campaign speech. And it was fantastic. 20 minutes of him just rattling off success after success after success after success. He's fired up, probably because he's sick and tired of watching these feckless, weak ass Republicans in Congress sitting with their thumbs jammed up their rear ends, failing to do the basic things that we put them there. And this 80-something-year-old man is like, well, if you guys aren't going to get off your ass and do it, I'm going to have to go do it for you because I'm not willing to let this country be taken from us. And that's exactly what's going to happen. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was good.
And it's interesting to me that this dovetails precisely when Dan Bongino announces that he's leaving the FBI for, in my opinion, the exact same reason. President Trump and Bongino are not willing to sit there with their mouths closed, Bongino especially, and watch the MAGA movement be torn apart from the inside by a bunch of grifters. Nick Fuentes, I'm looking at you. Candace Owens, I'm looking at you. And a whole bunch of other people that are choosing sides now. No. The MAGA movement, the conservative movement, for the sake of the midterms and the sake of the future of this country, needs a leader, and Bongino's going to be it. That's why he's leaving. That's, in my opinion, why he's leaving the FBI. Because they're tired of watching this. And, oh, by the way, I have a feeling that Candace Owens' career is going to be over as a result.
Her career is already over. SK?
Yeah, I think her fans have turned on her. It's pretty wild.
Do you blame them after the shit show that she's walked them through over the last couple of days?
No. And I would hope that anyone that follows me would call me out if I was doing some crazy stuff like that too.
Amazing. Guys, can you just stop and think for a second about everything that he just went through? He talked about the largest tax cut in American history. And yet we spent, 3 months earlier this year listening to a bunch of raving lunatic leftists pretend like the tax cuts that he made permanent wasn't a big deal. Like, do you guys understand the tax burden that we were getting ready to have shoved down our throats because the Biden auto pen administration refused to make permanent the tax brackets? It was going to be the single largest tax increase in American history. And I'm not just saying that. That's not an exaggeration.
So you have to take that in context where they had no interest in extending those across the board tax cuts, like where the highest percentage of tax cuts actually went to the lower class, lower tax brackets, and they minimized as they went higher to the higher tax brackets. Think of that context. They were not interested in extending those tax cuts, but they fought tooth and nail for some freaking tax subsidies for the Obamacare premiums.
Yeah, they did.
Because they know that those tax subsidies went where? Where did they actually go? They didn't go to me and you. They went to the insurance companies. They fought for them, but they had no interest at the time to fight for extending and continuing the tax cuts that President Trump passed in his first term.
None. SK, we're going to make sure that you have room to share your opinion. We're not going to steamroll you. So we're going to go around the room. It's your turn.
I'm not even paying attention. I'm in the chat of YouTube. This is why I can't have the chat open.
If you want to play in the chat, go for it. That's fine. He talked about tax cuts. He talked about job creation. Folks, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the job numbers over the last, decade. This is something that I pay pretty close attention to. And I have been stunned, and I've been talking about it for years, stunned at the disproportionate treatment of the American worker compared to the foreign-born worker. Donald Trump said something that was critically important. Since he took office, 100% of all jobs created have gone to native-born workers, American citizens, people born here, live their lives here, and need jobs. Do you know the last time that happened? Or should I say, do you know the last time a native-born worker by proportion received any of the new jobs created? 2018. It has been since 2018 that foreign-born workers have absorbed all of the net new jobs that have been created, year after year after year after year. This is what the auto pen administration was doing. They were flooding the country with, in many cases, some of the most horrific, violent people in the world, and giving them your jobs for the first time.
And ready to tax you more on the back end of it. Yeah.
And taxing you more. And then he talked about how 100% of jobs created since Trump took office again have been in the private sector. Like, this is an economic revolution that he's delivering to the American people, an absolute revolution. He's literally putting rocket fuel in the US economy right now, that if we can get the Federal Reserve to stop playing games and take their foot off the throat of the American economy, this economy is going to skyrocket. It is going to go bonkers. You're talking about 6-7% GDP growth year over year. We're already averaging about 4 this year, 4% GDP growth, and you're barely feeling it because you're still suffering from the affordability crisis that the loser auto pen administration gave us.
And that GDP growth is without adding a shitload of federal employees.
With zero.
And
Zero.
they're shrinking. They're
Isn't
shrinking
it
the
like,
government.
aren't we down like 200,000 federal jobs already?
Yeah. And you know what else? I was looking this up while he was talking. Foreign-born workers, since Donald Trump took office, have not just stopped getting new jobs. They've actually declined between 670,000 and 1 million jobs that were held by foreign-born workers. And that's because well over 2 million, probably approaching 3 million people have either been forcibly deported or self-deported just this year alone.
But PatriotDad, hold on. Doesn't
What?
that make you a racist if you don't want foreign-born workers to get jobs over American-born workers?
No,
Doesn't
it makes
that
me
make you a racist?
It makes me an American.
Oh,
It
I
makes
just-
me a
okay.
reasonable human being who wants to see my fellow Americans thrive. That's what it makes me. And if you think that makes someone a racist, you can go fuck yourself.
Patriot Dad.
I'm sorry.
You're
I
gonna
hope
be in
Patriot. I
trouble.
hope Patriot Mom didn't hear that. She
She
probably
did.
did.
She
Although I
definitely
learned
did.
something very important. I was looking at the statistics for our recent shows, and the average listener listens for about 18 minutes before they check out. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad, but I found out
bad.
that my wife is that average listener.
Yeah, mine
And I'm
is
like,
too.
what do you mean? And
My
so
husband doesn't.
I
know.
came down from the show and she's like, I heard you talk about this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, what about the rest of it? She's like, I stopped listening. I'm like, we sleep in the same bed. Like it's
This
an
is-
obligation.
This
Yeah,
is Dom does the same thing.
my
She'd rather be
husband-
she'd rather be watching The Housewives, frankly.
Yeah, my
will
husband
put-
doesn't watch either. And when he does, I'm like, ew. I walk out and he'll be watching the podcast and I'm like, ew, turn that off. I can't watch
I
that.
will throw a $5 bill in the swear jar, but you can just go F yourself. I'm sorry. If you don't think the American worker should come first, go F yourself.
And I have a question for those of you that don't think the American workers should come first. How do you think you're going to pay for all of the global socialism that you're trying to implement right now? Because if the American worker gets screwed and the American economy gets screwed, where's the money going to come from? Because right now we fund all of it. Let me rephrase that. 50% of the taxpayers in this country, 50% of the earners in this country fund all of it. Because the other 50% of you are paying net zero taxes at the end of the day.
Yep. He also talked about the most favored nation status. Hello. Hey,
Yep.
America, you should be paying the lowest prices of pharmaceuticals in the world because we're paying for everything else. We should get a discount.
Well, but we also own the pharmaceutical companies that are making them.
Yeah, and we fund the research and development. We fund all of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
God,
Go to
there's so much
TrumpRx.gov after the first of the year.
There's
Get
so
your
much
most
here.
favored nation pricing.
$15,000 annual increase in mortgage costs
We could spend
under the
20
Biden
minutes on this.
administration.
Do you know why that happened, PatriotDad?
Yeah, let's talk about it. It's important
Let's
that we
talk
do.
about it. It's very important.
Oh, you want me to talk about it, or do you?
I want you to talk about it.
Well, because they needed to basically starve you out of your home, so they had enough rental properties in order to put the millions of immigrants in.
Yep.
That's
Do
a
you
high
remember-
level overview.
Do you remember in COVID when
Yeah.
houses would go up for sale because people were remote and they're like, oh, I can move wherever I want. They go sell their house and they would get over-ass cash offers literally everywhere. I know where I
happened
was
to me.
in
Everywhere.
Northern Ohio.
I did it.
I know everywhere.
I moved.
Because BlackRock and Vanguard were buying up those single family homes so that they could rent them to illegals because they knew the federal government was going to subsidize the rent at the maximum level.
That's right.
So you were being bought out of your house. And so the federal government could, wait, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The taxpayers would then subsidize, a PatriotDad and SK. What happens when the government subsidizes something?
Do we need to walk through
the prices
use of
go
money?
up. The prices go up.
Yes,
More
and you
college
get
and
inflation
everything else.
too.
Yep.
Yes.
Do we need to walk through like the 4 ways that money is the 4 efficiencies or efficient uses of money, or I guess the lack thereof? We'll do that another day.
We'll do it another. It's a long conversation. But essentially, if the government's going to pay for something, the taxpayer is going to pay for something, the people that are charging for that is going to charge as much as the government's willing to pay, which is a lot of money.
And the government's willing to pay whatever they want because it's not their money and they're not the ones living in these shitty apartments.
Right.
Like this is the least efficient use of money that you can possibly do. Spending other people's money on other people because you don't care about how much it costs and you certainly don't care about the quality that you're getting either.
But guys, remember when Obama stood there and told everybody that the price of healthcare would not go up? What happens when the taxpayers fund healthcare? What happened to the prices?
Let's look at what happened to education.
Everything.
All we have to do is look at the Obamacare premiums to show you, because what we watched from Obamacare when the taxpayers are subsidizing those premiums, that was just the largest transfer of wealth in human history from taxpayers to the insurance companies. That's all that was.
Oh, but guys,
a huge amount.
The Democrats hate big corporations, especially big corporations like United Healthcare. Remember when they cheered for the CEO?
Then why do they keep dumping billions of dollars into it?
Oh, I don't know. Weird. They shut the government down and let people go without paychecks and EBT for what? Oh, that's right. Government subsidies to healthcare companies.
You didn't actually think that when they talked about transferring wealth, you didn't actually think they meant transferring it from the wealthy to the poor, did you?
Oh no.
Is that what?
They have
raise your hand in the comments. Raise your hand for a second. If you actually believe the lie that income redistribution was designed to take wealth from the rich and give it to the poor, raise your hand. Now smack yourself with it. Smack yourself with that hand because you are an idiot if you think that. If you think that in any type of socialist style economy, the result will be that you move wealth from the wealthy to the poor, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. So what actually happened, right? If you guys think back to the debate, when there was no debate about Obamacare, the only debate that we got was from Nancy Pelosi saying you're going to have to pass it before you can see what's in it. That was a quote from Nancy Pelosi. That was the only debate. No Republican voted for this. This was a purely partisan vote that completely changed our healthcare insurance industry, and it was by design. The short-term goal from Obamacare was to enrich the insurers that were funding their campaigns. The long-term goal, and I don't mean the effect, the goal was to make insurance so expensive that people sitting here and in the chat would cry out for socialized healthcare. That was the long-term goal, was to make it so expensive. And the way they're going to do it is they're going to transfer trillions of dollars from us to the insurance companies. The insurance companies are going to give it right back to them in campaign donations, and they're going to stay in office while they're destroying the price of healthcare to force you into socialized medicine. That's what happened. And it cost about, $4, $5, $8 trillion of taxpayer money to do it.
Yep. And bonus points for anyone who can tell me the members of Congress that receive the most funding from pharmaceutical companies. Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders. It's people on the left.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, all of them.
Because it's a giant money laundering scheme. That's all it is. Yeah. So Donald Trump talked about the invasion of the border. SK, Nom, why do you think he keeps using that word invasion? Because he's been using that word invasion for about 10 years now. Why does he keep using the word invasion?
So that we can be able to stop it, because it's a national security concern and it is a literal invasion. How many known terrorists were let into this country under the Biden
18,000.
administration?
Over
Tens of
18,000.
thousands.
On the terrorist watch list. One of them was arrested in California, and before any agencies spoke to each other, they let the guy get out of jail, and then they had to go search for him. It took 2 weeks to find him, and they found him in Texas, and he's on the terrorist watch list.
So the other reason he keeps calling it an invasion, one, I agree, it's so that Alien Enemies Act and those sorts of things are
Wartime
come into play.
powers. Wartime powers.
Wartime
Just
powers.
like Dean AMD said over on Rumble. Wartime powers.
Wartime powers is one. And the other one is because it was an invasion. It was a planned, orchestrated invasion. And by the way, you paid for it through the UN and all of the NGOs, the Catholic Charities, the UNHC, the Jewish charities, all of them. They literally, we handed about $6 billion, maybe more, to the UN. The UN took that money, and they also in USAID, and they gave it to these NGOs. These NGOs went to Haiti, they went to Somalia, they went to Central and South America. They picked up as many million people as they could. They put them in buses, and they dropped them off at our border and shoved them across.
You guys,
that's what happened.
You guys, there were offices in Latin America where people could go and they would give them jobs, tell them exactly what to say when they got to the border, and help them get to the border, and then just let them into the country. There were flyers all up everywhere. They studied this. There is a whole study you can look up where they used Facebook advertising to follow the migrants all the way from Venezuela to the southern border.
Yeah. So after they did that, then the real pain started, right? Then they put them into the country, and then they put them in the houses that they bought from you and that they were building, and that the taxpayers were funding and subsidizing their rent and their EBT cards and their phone cards and paying their electric bill. And as we now see in Somaliland, in Minnesota and Dearborn, it's not just Minnesota, it's not just Minneapolis, it's Georgia, it's Maine, it's Columbus, Ohio, sucking billions of dollars from taxpayers right back out. I mean, guys, the disaster that this has caused, I don't think we can even quantify how much.
No, you can't.
I'm going to be crazy, and I'm going to make a statement because I've seen people mention this. I think Elon may have mentioned it, said something very close. Almost all of our national debt was stolen with fraud. Almost all. And I count. Yeah.
I've already done that math, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but there has been some analysis done that 100% of our national debt has been stolen from us.
Yeah.
It hasn't just been like spent. It's been stolen.
Yeah.
But so I don't know, Nom and SK, I don't know if you guys saw this. Did you guys see a couple weeks ago where that high-ranking former Venezuelan official who was prosecuted and put in prison, but I think it was by the Auto Pen administration, wrote a letter to Donald Trump. Did you guys hear about that? It was a guy by the name of Hugo Berios. Did you guys hear about this guy?
Yeah.
He wrote a letter to Donald Trump from his prison cell, basically spilled his guts. And what this guy disclosed, and we can probably pull it up if you want. I think, Nom, it's in the Dropbox. You want to pull it up?
Yeah, I've got to bring all of that stuff individually because if I try to bring it up while we're talking,
just bring one.
So
bring Venezuela War 1.
Got it.
So I labeled this Venezuela War 1. Like, folks, you understand that Donald Trump has been using this language of invasion on purpose. It is not an accident that he is using military terminology to explain what's been happening to the country, because we were actually invaded in an asymmetric system of warfare. So what this guy wrote a letter to Donald Trump and exposed is that Venezuela for years has been actively waging asymmetric war on the American people through narco-terrorism, through vote manipulation, through subterfusion, through all kinds of different tactics, sending Tren de Aguagra gangs and other cartel related gangs into the United States. This hasn't just been a way for them to, like, you know, leak a little bit of drugs into the country. They have been using these tactics literally to attack the American people, to attack the United States of America. So when Tucker Carlson came out earlier today and apparently made the incorrect statement that Donald Trump was going to announce to the American people that we were going to war with Venezuela, I said, it's about damn time.
Yeah.
It's about time.
And people need to understand that there are other countries involved than just Venezuela. You have China with the Belt and Road Initiative. China basically, I mean, Venezuela is so in debt to China, and China has all sorts of things because of the ports. They have control of the ports in Venezuela. They have sensors and all sorts of things that they've put out in the ocean to be able to detect, us if we're out there. You have Russia, you have Cuba, you have Iran, you have Iran's proxies, you have Margarita Island, where we've known since the 90s. There's a congressional hearing from the 90s where they're talking about terrorists being trained at Margarita Island. Those narco terrorists aren't just moving drugs. They're also moving people that are terrorists that want to attack this country.
Just listen to this.
One of the other avenues of the asynchronous warfare coming from them is in votes. It's in elections.
Yeah.
Can I read this out loud? Because listen, there's at least
take it offline, but we can certainly try.
Well, I'm just going to read what this guy said. There's at least 3 pillars of what is actually happening in the Caribbean and what's going on with Venezuela and President Trump. And one of them is safe and secure elections. That's right. So here's what this guy says. Smartmatic in your elections. Smartmatic was born as an electoral tool of the Venezuelan regime, but soon derived into a tool to help keep the regime stay in power forever. I know this because I placed the head of IT of the National Electoral Council, the CNE, in his position, and he reported directly to me. The Smartmatic system can be altered. This is a fact. This technology was later exported abroad, including the United States. Regime operatives maintain relationships with election officials and voting machine companies inside your country. I do not claim that every election is stolen, but I state with certainty that elections can be rigged with the software and has been used to do so.
Duh. Hey, do you think it's worth actually going to war with a country who is waging asymmetric warfare against you?
I would hold on, before even asymmetric warfare, didn't we listen to 4 entire years from 2017 until January 2021 where they said Russia was waging war on the United States of America because they supposedly colluded with Trump to steal the 2016 election? Didn't we go through literally a 10-year seditious conspiracy as a result of that fake narrative?
Yeah. So
we have this where he's not implying that every election is stolen. He's saying that it has been done before and it can be done.
All right, folks over in the comments are asking a bunch of great questions, so let's make sure we engage some of those.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So we had Smitty4, who says, what do you think about Bonino leaving the FBI? What do you think about Bonino stepping down? SK, what are your thoughts? I've got a couple clips I want to play, but I'd love your opinion on this.
I think that we need him back on the air. I think we definitely need him for midterms. I think it will help to have him having been on the inside. Hopefully he can tell us a little bit, at least. I think he also has seen some shit, and it obviously shook him to his core. And he stated that we cannot run a republic like this. And that's speaking about what was going on under the Biden administration, by the way. And I'm curious to see what he has to say. And I'm curious to see how he's going to affect midterms. And I'm grateful that he decided to take that step and serve and give up everything that he had for the last year to do so. But I think it's time for him to get back where he belongs.
Yeah. Nom, is there something funny going on here? Because all the lunatics on the left are basically saying he's abandoning Donald Trump and he's tired of MAGA. and he's failed, so he's running home with his tail between his legs. Like, I don't think you guys, Chris News says it's frustration. I don't agree with that, Chris, but Nom, what are your thoughts?
I don't think it's frustration at all. Well, listen, it may be a little bit of frustration just because of how big the beast is, but he wouldn't quit when he's facing a challenge. Here's what I actually think happened. I think that the conservative movement, the MAGA movement, is currently being intentionally ripped apart from the inside. There's nothing but infighting. Like, since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, we've not been able to focus on any of the affordability things that President Trump just talked about, which is all we should be talking about going into the midterm elections. And it's because we have no leader, no voice of the MAGA movement. And that's what Bongino truly was before he took this position. And with Charlie Kirk being gone, it's rudderless. And in fact, it's rudderless. It's infighting. There's nothing but grifters everywhere. There are people who are being fed psychological operation bullshit. Candace, I'm looking directly at you. And doing so, and so I think that President Trump and Bongino said, listen, I am much more effective on the outside than I am on the inside.
Totally agree. And Donald Trump, and Trump actually spoke about this. I know this just recently came out, but here's Donald Trump explaining why Dan Bongino is going back.
A beautiful event for three great people. And they're now looking down, and their parents and wives and all of the people that were there were, devastated, but great people, great people. So thank you very much for being there. Yeah, she's doing a great job. Just a blockade. Not going to let anybody going through that shouldn't be going through. You remember they took all of our energy rights. They took all of our oil from not that long ago, and we want it back. But they took it. They illegally took it. Oh, Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show. Yeah, I do.
There you go. He wants to go back to his show. And that's where we need him at. I mean, look, I totally agree with SK. I totally agree with Nom. Dan Bongino is most effective behind a microphone. Because there hasn't been anyone that's been able to connect with people as well and as effectively as he has. We've tried, and we're probably going to continue to grow, and we'll fill in a lot of gaps where we just got started. We just got started. But he moved mountains behind that microphone, and I had a feeling that him leaving that microphone was going to have a negative impact on what we were trying to accomplish, but he felt it necessary to go help. And honestly, if you listen to Dan Bongino, if you listen to him and his shows, and if you understand who he is as a man, he misses his wife. He wants to go home. He's a homebody. He would talk about, there'd be like days and sometimes weeks where he didn't leave his house because he was working and he was hanging out with his wife and his daughters. That's what he wants to do. And I totally relate to that. Absolutely relate to that. It would be an awful experience for me to go to Washington, D.C., my wife to be here at home and try to figure out how to survive without her as my source of comfort. As my
Mrs. Nom would come with me. She'd be in my suitcase. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So Chris News, he makes, I don't know if he makes a comment, said head of Turning Point, Dan Bongino. I don't know if that's going to happen, but here's the reality. So PatriotDad just said that, some of us thought that things may go a little haywire without Dan behind the microphone. I don't know. I think they absolutely went haywire when Charlie Kirk was killed.
Yep.
And what has happened since Charlie Kirk was assassinated was precisely why he was assassinated. It is 100% precisely why he was killed.
And
I
it
don't
was
think
their
Dan's got any
plan.
choice. Yes.
It was their plan. They told us, we read it out loud on this podcast. We showed you their discussions about what they were going to do because they celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination, and it did not go well for them. And then what did they do? They pivoted to, we're going to divide the base by using Israel. And that's exactly what they have done. And everyone is falling for it. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of dividing the base by using Israel, and I only want to spend a few minutes on this because we eventually need to get to the Brown University stuff because we got a lot to talk about there. Did you guys see that Candace Owens, literally face planting after that meeting with Erica Kirk, has gone to the one place that she knows that she can still exist in, which is blaming Israel. That's what she's left with, blaming Israel. She came out of that one-on-one with Erica Kirk, gave one of the weirdest episodes of her podcast the next day, where she basically backtracked on everything that matters. And then effectively said, well, the reason why the Egyptian planes are relevant is I know I got everything wrong. I know I got the flight logs wrong. I know that I added a plus or minus 3-day window from when destinations were showing up there. But those planes were going to Israel. Like, that's all they have, folks. This is the last vestige of the attempts to try to destroy the Republican Party and the MAGA base is Israel. So I'm just going to say it right now.
Do you have this video? Is this you want to play this?
Is it the well, I think we need to do. Let's play that one. No, let's skip that one. Skip that one. So let's do the Piers Morgan one. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Yeah,
but she was on Piers Morgan, and this is what I'm talking about. So she is at a place right now where the only thing that she can do is try to hide and gaslight her audience and what's left of people who pay any attention to her, to try to convince you that the things that she said she didn't actually say. And here is a perfect example of how that went when she tried it with Piers Morgan today. Because you remember, she's been building this narrative that people at Turning Point USA have been involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. She said that outright. They have been complicit, involved. And I want you to listen to what she's saying now.
Why would he say that?
So
why was he so involved as somebody who's fighting a 97,000 front war?
Candace, I want to get to the reality of what you're actually saying. So when you say that somebody at Turning Point USA, Charlie's company, was complicit in his murder, who was?
I believe that there were multiple people at Turning Point who are, as I have said many times, my exact words are, they are engaged in a cover-up of what happened to Charlie on that day.
No, but who was involved in his murder?
I didn't say that they murdered Charlie.
You said that people at Turning Point were complicit in his murder.
No, my exact sentence that I said was that there were people at Turning Point who are engaged in a cover-up.
No, you didn't.
I believe that thoroughly.
Candace, you didn't say that. You said literally.
I did say that on my entire show.
You said there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
When you and I were discussing, that's why I said, let's go back. I was applying the logic of a conspiracy to JFK. I said, okay, JFK, you have.
Maybe she doesn't know what the word complicit means.
Or maybe she's just a narcissistic gaslighter, which is probably more likely when you listen to this woman talk. She is the most narcissistic personality on all of media right now. And she is literally trying to gaslight to save her ass because her audience is getting ready to turn on her and already have in some regard.
They already have.
Yeah, that's another thing. Go ahead, SK.
I was just going to say, I guarantee you, Erica Kirk told her what was up in that meeting, and she's now trying to backpedal, saying, "Oh, that's not what I said." Well, it's all on video, lady.
Yeah,
it's
I think Turning Point should sue the crap out of her. Number one, and number two, for those of you, so when Bongino comes out of the FBI, right? And hopefully he takes some time before he gets behind a microphone. I don't know what his plan is. You're not going to get secrets, right? He's not going to probably tell you anything that the FBI hasn't already said. But I highly suspect that you're going to get an episode that says something like, the FBI has the right guy. The evidence is speaking through the charging documents and the medical examiner's reports. It's the right guy. And her career should be effectively over after that. I'm adding that. I don't think he'll say it, but I think he'll come out and do a giant gut stomp without gut stomping her.
It shouldn't
what
even
she's
take him
done.
doing that, because anybody who's even read the charging documents knows that she's utterly full of shit. Because that episode that she did right after the meeting with Erica Kirk, she came out and she pretended that the only evidence that the prosecutors have against Tyler Robinson are chats and text messages between him and his boyfriend. Candace, did you even read the charging documents? Have you read them? Candace, have you read the charging documents? What about the probable cause affidavit that's submitted with it? Because if you actually go read those documents, they are attesting to the fact that they have DNA evidence, they have video footage, they have photos, they have his confession, they have his family telling the authorities that he confessed. They have
But guys, she said Tyler Robinson's never even been on UVU's campus. How could his DNA be there on the campus, on top of the building? How could his DNA be on the gun? How could his DNA be on?
How could his footprint be there?
And how could his DNA be on the actual shell casings still inside the gun? Even the fired round was still in there, because remember, it's a bolt action. It doesn't automatically eject. The fired round was still in there.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough with Candace Owens.
Please, I was going to say the same thing. I'm so tired of her, and hopefully we don't have to deal with this shit anymore.
I guess maybe one last thing. It's a Candyland cult. It's over. Move on.
It's over.
Let's
go back to Harry and Meghan, please.
That's right.
Please, you were better suited for Harry and Meghan.
That's right. All right, Nom, where are we going next? What happened? What else? Brown.
Well,
you want to get to Brown University?
We have to get to Brown University. So what we got? We're 57. We're 57 minutes in. How far do we want to go today?
So here's what we want to do. I don't think that this podcast wants to play into the normal hysteria that you see in social media, where without verifiable evidence, we start naming names and showing pictures of people. So we're not going to do that. You guys can do that yourselves. The photos are out there. The potential suspects that a lot of really talented and incredibly accurate researchers have surfaced and are tracking down. It's there. But I don't think we want to go there yet, because we don't have to, because there's an entirely different angle of this story that nobody is really talking about. And it is the most important angle of this story. The question that I think needs to be answered is, what is Brown University hiding? And why? Well, Donald Trump asked this question himself. Why is there no video footage? No,
let's find that. Right. So it's interesting, because the direction that I went this morning, where's Trumpy at? Hold on. Here we go. So I saw a video on Hannity last night, a former FBI agent, and we'll play it here in just a minute. But President Trump is asking the right question. And guys, when President Trump does this, he's not just up at 11:40 at night randomly tweeting. He knows something about this. That's why he's saying it. Okay? He does some random tweets, but this isn't one of them. So last night, this happened. Let me find the video. Sorry, guys, I have to dig through. We got to bring all this. When StreamYard crashed for me, I had all this stuff staged. It's not staged anymore. Now we have to find it.
It's more organic when you have to go digging for it.
What I find quite alarming is that there's something called the Clearary Act. It's a law that universities and colleges have to abide by, and they have to submit annual security reports, which Brown University did in 2025. And I took it upon myself to look through it and see what it said. I did a keyword search looking up CCTV. Out of 171 pages, it was mentioned one time. I did other keyword searches that would indicate security. I was baffled by the fact that there wasn't much in there on things that are relevant, particularly to this investigation. But I think what's even more astonishing is that in January of 2025, Brown was running at a $46 million deficit and budget deficit, and they were looking for ways to cut costs. And you know what their number one priority was? How are we going to maintain our DEI initiatives and programs at Brown while we're trying to cut costs? That was.
Nom, are you muted, Nom? You're muted.
Yeah, he's muted.
That's significant.
That's very significant.
So what? Let's play this back. So that's a former retired FBI agent, and what she's saying is all these colleges, universities are required to submit this annual report, and in that annual report is supposed to talk about their security plan to protect students from exactly what just happened at Brown University and others. And in their security plan, almost no cameras at all. So what I've started wondering, and where I've arrived on this, is you have to remember during the Free Palestine protests and the attacks and the harassment on Jewish students, Brown University was one of the focal points of those protests and of the attacks and the harassment and the scrawling the swastikas on buildings. Brown University was one of the flashpoints for all of that. What if those cameras were turned off or basically ignored to protect the identity of the Free Palestine Hamas supporting students from the federal government, which is really fascinating.
Especially when you consider all of the different people at the university, specifically in the Middle Eastern Studies department, including the Palestinian studies. There are several professors that are extremely questionable, including one that was the president of BirZeit University in Palestine. And that is where Mohsen Madawi went to school. He's the guy that they were trying to deport that had his green card already. He's like really old. He's been in college since like 2008, I think. He's the one that has the cousin that was killed by the IDF because he was a member of Hamas. I mean, these people are not good people. And these are the people that are founding these organizations. He's the one that founded the Columbia University Apartheid Divest with Mahmoud Khalil. And it looks like we've got the person that was running the Middle Eastern and Palestinian studies as the president of BirZeit University. There's
Let's
a
call
pipeline.
it what it is. Let's call it what it is. They affectionately refer to that university as Terrorism University because that's what comes out of it.
Yes,
Lebanon,
they have
right?
parades.
It's in Lebanon, right?
No, this one is in Palestine. And and it is not good at all. They have actual parades with like terrorists. They set aside so many seats on the student councils and things for actual Hamas members. These people are not good at all. And this guy was the president of BirZeit University while he was a professor, founding professor of the Middle Eastern Studies program at Howard University.
Howard or Brown?
I mean Brown. My bad.
So what SK is alluding to is basically a pipeline between this what do you call it? This BirZeit University.
Just call it Terrorist University.
Terrorist University in Palestine and Brown. And this wasn't the only one. So this professor was the president of the Terrorist University in Palestine. He's over here, a founding member at Brown. But do you guys remember this story here back in March? Do you remember when we had Maryland Dad and we had, you know, the dude up in Colombia that was trying to be deported and they were fighting all this? Yeah. And then we had this case back in March. Dr. Rasha Alawi, a Brown University assistant professor, was detained in Boston, deported to Lebanon. Authorities found sympathetic photos and videos of prominent Hezbollah figures in the deleted items folder of her cell phone. Additionally, she attended the funeral of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah in Lebanon. Do you remember this story? There's a pipeline between these Hamas supporting Palestinian Free Palestine folks and Brown University.
It's not just Brown. There's several other universities as well, but it goes even deeper. Remember Signalgate, and remember the fact that I mention the name Katherine Mayor all the time. She's the head of NPR. She was on the board of Signal. She's friends with Steve Jobs' wife, who owns The Atlantic, which just so happens to be the outlet that the journalist that was accidentally put in the Signal chat worked for. She's also on the board of Access Now, and Access Now happens to be one of the signatories on the letter that was written in August of this year to 130 universities, demanding them to turn off their CCTV because it was a violation of First Amendment rights and their protesting rights because they want to protect the identities of the protesters.
That's right.
Wait a second. Hold on. Are you saying, SK, that there was a group of leftists?
Oops, what was that? Hold on, take that
Stop
off.
it. You stole my thing.
Put your thing back up there.
Well, I can't. You stole it. Stop.
I was just putting something in the green room that I want to show.
You can't do that. It steals the screen. You can't. We have to do it one at a time now.
There needs to be an option just to move something into the green room.
There's not. Stop touching buttons.
There needs to be.
All right. So, SK, are you telling me that these exact same people who have this seems to be this weird UN pipeline, say like to Utah University, Utah Valley University over there, and University of Utah, and all those coming through the UN, and all these people, and then we've got a pipeline between Brown University and the terrorist university in Palestine. We've got professors that are engaged in all this. And then back in August of 2025, you had this human rights groups, multiple, send a letter to university administrators demanding that they dismantle their surveillance regime on campuses to defend free speech now. Folks, this letter went out.
But let me clear something up. You have to understand that the pipeline, it isn't separate from the UN. None of this is separate. It's all combined. It's all the same pipeline. It goes both ways too. It doesn't just come from foreign countries to the United States. It goes from the United States to these foreign countries. And you have UNRWA, UNRWA involved as well. Those are who run the Palestinian, all of the Palestinian refugee camps in Syria, everywhere, Lebanon, all over the place. Katherine Mayor is also on the board of the American University Beirut. I'm telling you right now, this is all the same people. It's all the same pipeline. They all have the exact same resume. Just go look at the person that they are saying might possibly be a suspect in this, and go look and read the things that he's written, they, them, whatever, has written, and then go look at Ermia Fanian and what everything that he, she, whatever wrote, and also look at their schooling, their education, their activism. It's all the same. You can copy paste resumes. It's all the same.
Hold on. Before you move on, this is so crucially important for folks to understand what is very likely, in my opinion, happening at Brown University.
Let's put it on the
These are the high-level demands that came from that organization. Refuse to cooperate or share data with law enforcement agencies, secure data with end-to-end encryption, delete sensitive data, purge any data collected on students, staff, faculty that's not essential to the functioning of the university, dismantle surveillance, continue the use of invasive technologies that collect sensitive data, reject mask restriction policies, harm reduction related to doxing. Folks, what is happening right now over there at Brown University is the template for what these people demanded they do.
That's right.
It was the template. That's why there's no video on that campus.
Allegedly. I mean, it's just coincidental that this happened in August and then this happens and there just happens to not be video. Weird.
Well, speaking of coincidental, is it then also coincidental that when these universities bend the knee at these human rights organizations that are basically demanding that you create an environment where you can't actually surveil people who are getting ready to execute bounties on the heads of Jewish academics? Because I don't know if you guys know this. I talked about this the other day in a video. A website popped up a few months ago, and it was a website who is advertising bounties on the heads of Jewish academics as much as $100,000 if somebody were to be successful to execute somebody in the world of academia and is pro-Israel and in Jewish. And wouldn't you know that we are now starting to see Jewish academics being murdered? We have Rachel Friedberg, who was
She wasn't murdered, but Rachel Friedberg was the teaching professor of economics at Brown University. This was her building. This was where this right here was where the students were gathered for a study session for her economics midterm.
And
This
then
woman right here.
You also have the physicist at MIT that was found shot to death in his apartment earlier this week. And I think there was another one that happened this week as well. You've got Jewish academics that are being assassinated or attempted to be assassinated at the same time that a website pops up offering bounties on their heads. This could not happen were it not for universities bowing the knee to these human rights organizations in the UN and these radical left-wing Islamo-fascists demanding they create an environment where this stuff can happen. MIT is about 50 miles away from Brown.
What was the image we showed last week, or I think it was Monday, where leftists were outraged that these universities appear to have been bending the knee to Trump's executive orders?
Yeah, it's this one.
Was that?
And you know who it was? Who's outraged? Who do you think it was?
Yeah.
Take a look at this. Look at the name
Indivisible
of the organization up here at the top left that is issuing publications, losing their minds, and basically calling people to action because elite universities are caving to the Trump's authoritarian demands. Indivisible. Who's indivisible? Who's indivisible, SK? Tell us about indivisible in case the people forgot.
It's all the same people every single time. Indivisible is Leah Green. What is it?
I think it's Greenberg,
Leah
isn't it?
and Greenberg, something like that. And Matt, what's her husband's name?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a goober.
I don't remember, but yeah, they're funded by, well, they are part of the Arabella Advisors Network. They were part of the Tesla protests, the No Kings protests, which, by the way, they just arrested that guy that shot the other friendly protester at the No Kings protest in Salt Lake City, Utah, who happens to also be armed queers, Salt Lake City, Army Athenian. Weird. But it's all the same people every time. And when we look at the funding for the organization that wrote that letter with all those signatories, again, including Access Now, which Katherine Mayor is on the board of, it has been for years. You look at the funding and the founding of it, it was founded by a lady named Tiffany Chang. And Tiffany Chang received a fellow scholarship through Shuttleworth Foundation, which is, and they give a lot of money, by the way. And they announced that fellowship in early 2016. And it is for development of some sort of like, what is it called? Like maybe like an activist type organization. This happens just like the award that Ermia Finian got from Utah Global Diplomacy. This is how this works. They become a fellow of one of these organizations, and then they end up getting funding for their project. Like at Global Ties US, which funds Utah Global Diplomacy, they were recognizing this woman for her work, and it was all of this like feminist, crazy activist stuff, right? Same type of stuff that Ermia Finian was awarded for by Utah Global Diplomacy. And so this person founded this organization, and one of the founding funders, I guess you could say, is Ford Foundation. And you have the Media Democracy Fund, you have Knight Foundation, you have Proteus Fund, the Wallace Global Fund. The corporations that are funding this are places like Yelp, Union Square Ventures, DuckDuckGo. So if you're using DuckDuckGo thinking it's some, safe place, it's clearly not. They're funding all of these leftist organizations too. Data Foundry. There is a whole list of people. There are artists and influencers that support this organization, including Evangeline Lilly, Dave Glasgow, Laura Steiner, Bruce Schneider. There's a whole list of people. This is all the same stuff. And they don't just have the Fight for the Future Incorporated. They also have an education fund, and it gets like $2 million in funding in 2024.
Folks, if you want to know what's going on in Brown University, this is it.
Mhm.
An environment has been intentionally created to make it not only possible, but likely that somebody is going to be able to walk into a building and start shooting people. And it was done on purpose. Now, I saw a question in a comment say, what about the police chief? Is he incompetent? Yes. And he's playing his part. Because you see, the thing is, you're not allowed to know that. You're not allowed to know that they have intentionally turned our university campuses into like shooting fish in a barrel. That's what they've done. And then they've
Especially if
allowed,
there's Jewish students or openly
That's right.
conservative students.
that's right. It is, they have created dangerous environments for people who are not insane, lunatic, radical leftists. And they've done it on purpose because they want to control the way that kids are educated as they grow up. They know that if they can rot their brains now, they will have them for the rest of their lives. The university system is so critical to the success of authoritarian and totalitarian control. If you can convince these kids that they can't survive without some type of authoritarian dictatorship ruling over them and protecting them, which is what they convince them they're doing, then their system of government doesn't work. It fails. The problem is actual people are being harmed as a result of it. And that's the point. So is the sheriff incompetent? Very much so. So is the mayor. But they're doing their job of making it really hard for you to know that that shooter was there because they want him there. They want this stuff to happen. It's that simple.
We call that weaponized incompetence, by the way.
That's right.
It's weaponized. They're incompetent, but it's for a purpose. It's for a reason.
And don't forget, they also had a vote on the divestment of their endowment from Israeli companies. You know, the same thing all of them are demanding. Brown University actually entertained that and took a vote. People resigned from Brown University over the fact that they even took a vote on that. And it was a big deal. And so Brown University, at the very least, is complicit in all of this, and at the worst is involved.
That's right. That's right. All right. Last topic, and we'll touch on it very, very quickly. Has anyone else noticed that there now seems to be more evidence flowing out about the grand conspiracy? Have you guys noticed that? There was some documents that were released in the last few days about obstruction in the investigations against the Clinton Foundation, showing that the FBI was obstructed by the Department of Justice, who basically told the FBI, you're not allowed to do anything without our permission. You also have the release of the FBI position that there was no probable cause to actually be able to raid Mar-a-Lago. There's a reason why this stuff is coming back up. It's not an accident, because Donald Trump and his team are listening to you. They know that there's two things that the American people care about between now and midterms. Number one, affordability. And you cannot solve affordability with millions of immigrants, illegal immigrants in the country. You have to get them out of the country to solve affordability. There is no other solution for it. Nothing else will solve affordability except removing the massive amount of fake demand that was created that caused inflation, ruined home prices, destroyed rental prices, caused your gas prices to go through the roof, your grocery prices to go through the roof. They have to be removed. And the second thing is accountability. People have to go to jail for the seditious conspiracies that they've been running against the American people for the last 10 years. And he knows that. So there is a grand jury, multiple grand juries being impaneled in just 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, between 3 and 4 weeks. So there's a reason why you're starting to learn more about the conspiracies that the FBI was running against you, the conspiracies that the Department of Justice was running against you, the individuals who were involved in those conspiracies. It's because they're getting ready to be indicted.
Yeah.
And we're going to spend 2026 diving into the Trump administration is going to get accountability. We're going to get accountability. It's that simple. It has to happen, or you lose the election, you lose America. If there's no accountability, there's no country, and it's not worth it anymore. Sorry, no, I
Yeah.
interrupted you.
No, I mean, that's good. So just so folks know what's happening. The grand conspiracy, the 10-year-long seditious conspiracy that folks like Mike David and others, conspiracy against rights, both in his person, President Trump, and is violating his Fourth Amendment rights, but also in his capacity as the president. The president has constitutional rights, like the entire second article of the Constitution are his rights as the president. So the conspiracy against rights and the seditious conspiracy that, for some reason, these morons just continue to extend the statute of limitations with each one of these acts. That grand jury is being impaneled in the Southern District of New York on January 11th and January 12th. Just so we're all clear.
Hey,
right?
Nom, you know Mimi from TikTok, right? You know Mimi?
Yeah.
She has
Mimi
a question. Yeah, she has a question.
Where's Mimi at? Where's Mimi?
She's on the YouTube channel.
I
So
can't
Mimi has a really important question. She says, "What about the 4 that were planning the New Year's Eve attack? Are they connected?"
Well, yeah, the Turtle Island Liberation Front is Antifa. Okay.
Yes. Anyone that is referring to the United States as Turtle Island in any way is Antifa, Marxist, whatever. They have the same goal of overthrowing the United States government. And the person that the internet is suspecting as being the shooter wrote a paper and also refers to the United States as Turtle Island. So I would say yes.
But not only are they connected in that way, but Nom, didn't you just do a video on this? Isn't one of the people that at least one of the people that were just indicted and arrested for planning the New Year's Eve attack, weren't they in conversation or connected with one of the digital media managers for Governor Newsom?
Yes.
That's weird.
If you give me a second, I will.
You need to pull that up because our good friend Tony Saruga, who everybody knows, has this incredible access to like GPS location, geofencing location data, and is able to track where people go. So by the way, can I just say this while Nom's pulling this up? If you're going to commit a crime, don't take your phone with you. Don't be dumb. Leave your phone at home or any type of geofencing, any type of device that's possibly geofenced. Don't do it. Don't take it with you because someone's going to catch you. But nonetheless, we now know that one of the people who are running, at least it's suspected that one of the people who are running Gavin Newsom's social media, you know, the social media that pictured him with his legs behind his ears a week ago. Does anyone have that picture? Can we find that picture? Do we have the picture of Gavin Newsom with his legs behind his ears? We got to find that picture. Nonetheless, this woman, Camille something or other, is one of his social media managers, and it is believed was in contact with at least some of the.
I've got to find it. Come on, Saru. Come on. Where
I know you have
is
it somewhere.
I've got the video. I've got the image on my phone. It's going to be a pain in the rear end.
That's all right. We don't need to do that because you guys can go watch Nom's video. He released it on one of his accounts on TikTok. I think it's over on X as well, and he laid it out perfectly. It's just a weird connection that these people would somehow be in contact with one of the social media managers, the people who are behind the Governor Newsom newsroom account, which is just weird and kind of icky and strange. And
got it.
Oh, he's got it. Okay. I was just trying to fill space while he found it.
I know you are. You did a great job.
Well,
Wonderful
Mimi has another question real quick.
All right.
Statement. Mimi said, SK, remember Karen Bass also did training in Cuba? Yes. Also, I don't know if you've seen my X account, but a few days ago, I found a video of Ermia Finian at the Cuban embassy in DC because she lives in DC now. I don't know. Well,
because she thinks they're protected there, and they probably are for now, because you're not going to be able to get a grand jury to do anything in DC to indict these people. So there's Tony Saruga, GPS. Two of the 5 suspects, Audrey Carroll and Zachary Page, appear to have met with lesbian and Antifa sympathizer Camille Zapata, whose full name is Camille Harper Zapata, based in Stockton, California, on 3 occasions in 2 months. Zapata currently serves as the digital director for Governor Newsom, a role she has held since June 2024. Well, that's weird. Why would the governor's digital director be in contact, allegedly, with 2 people who were just arrested and indicted for planning a terrorist attack in Los Angeles? Anyone? Anyone?
Governor
Governor
well,
Newsom?
I mean, this is one of the two clowns that's responsible for Newsom's like identity change on social media, right?
Yeah.
She's one of the ones.
Yeah.
Her
might be
and another dude. Yeah.
Hold on. She might be, and if you guys can fill space for a second, she might be one of the people that is actually responsible for this post that I'm going to find, and I'm going to send it to you because it's
we
hilarious.
need to understand this is the same playbook. They've talked all about this. You've got people involved at every level in every campaign of the left and some of the right, but it's much, much, much smaller portion of the right than it is the left. It's like the entirety of the left and a small portion of the right. And they're everywhere. They're in the campaigns. They're in the government at the state level, the local level, the federal level. They are everywhere. And they all have the same goal.
SK, did you see this?
No.
Did you see this? Look, folks, this is not AI generated. This is not a joke. I actually went to Governor Newsom's X account and found this and screenshotted it. Put that back. Put that back. We want that on the big screen. This is a photo.
I don't want to see this. This
is a photo that was originally posted by Governor Newsom press office, the X account. And then Governor Newsom posted it himself.
But that is AI. His arm is coming out of his leg.
Well, obviously it's AI, but the fact is they thought that was a win. They thought that they were somehow being cool because they showed a photo of Governor Newsom's taint to the American people.
That's disgusting.
I know what's going on here. Here's what's going on. So again, because that woman we just showed you, Camille Zapata, whatever, and her and another dude are responsible for trying to make Gavin Newsom like President Trump and JD Vance because they're so good at social media. So all they're doing is copying them. You know how JD Vance leans into the people when people make fun of him? You know, I mean, you've got that meme, that Cabbage Patch Kid meme that JD Vance literally dressed up in Halloween.
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying to do here because they know everybody makes fun of this homo, Newsom. They're trying to lean into this and say, look how gay we are. Look how flexible we are so we can, I'm not going to go where I want to go, but that's what they're doing. They're trying to mimic JD Vance leaning into when people make fun of him. And they're not doing a very good job of it.
One of the things that makes you good at media digital warfare is knowing when to lean into something and when not to lean into something.
That's not what you lean into.
You do not lean into a picture that somebody created through AI of yourself showing your taint. And actually, it looks like more of a camel toe than anything. That's not something to lean into, Gavin Newsom. The problem is maybe Camille Zapata, when she was helping to develop that picture, should have been focusing more on the image she was creating. And then instead of contacting two people that are now indicted for possible terrorism charges.
You guys, MAGA Larry in the comments said, I can see he has no balls.
Yes, that's the
literally.
point.
I mean, that was flat. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we done? Is this over? I think
I don't know.
Oh, no,
Folks, did you guys
we're done.
Hey, we were just kind of giving you guys a flavor of what the potential Patriot Source podcast after dark, maybe Friday evening episodes could be like, because these ones I think are the funnest ones. We had our outline was like
tomorrow.
Was like
Yes.
6 lines long.
Yes, we have some business we need to take care of. So don't go anywhere yet, guys. Okay, everybody, make sure while you're here in the live chat, you hit that X button and X out of the live chat and go hit the actual like button, not just tapping the heart or whatever emoji you're tapping. Go hit the actual like button. Make sure you're subscribed and make sure you turn on your notifications because we have a special episode tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And it is with Lisa Logan, and she's going to be talking about her latest article. And we're going to be connecting more dots and bringing America 250 into this. But also, we have the future possible Friday night episodes here and there coming up. And we also want to make sure everybody joins Discord. So if you want to join the Patriot family and come to the Patriot Source Discord channel, server, whatever it's called, I don't know. Go to your Google browser or whatever you use, DuckDuckGo, and put in skdd.lol, like laugh out loud, and it should direct you to the Discord server, and make sure you go into the rules section and hit the green check mark to verify, and then you should be in. And then you can leave us notes. We can try to chat with you guys more often. You can give us, if you want some questions answered on the podcast, or if you have something you want us to,
We need a
we need
tip
a
box.
tip box.
We need an anonymous
I
tip
will
box.
make a tip box. I'll do
Make a
that
tip
right
box.
now.
We want an
But
anonymous
also-
tip box.
Yes. Also, if you want us to investigate something, if you've seen something and you want us to look into it, you can let us know in Discord. Hopefully we can all be chatting in there.
You have to make us a promise, though. If you're going to send us anonymous tips, you have to tell us whether you're a Fed trying to create a disinformation campaign with it.
Or a
Fair?
foreign government.
Or a foreign
I
government.
mean, SK is going
Fair?
to sniff that out in about 5 minutes. So
Yeah, fair. That's true, because SK actually
she's going to be able to
reads
tell
stuff.
by the words you use. If
That's
you,
right.
if you use the word sustainability in anything, we're going to know exactly who you are.
Dude, there's a whole list.
She's got a list. You see, because SK actually reads, unlike the Candyland cultists who don't actually read or do any research at all. They just read their tip box and think it's real. We're going to read our tip box and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Could do some cues once in a while. Hey, that's a great, hey, Family Crest, when we actually go live with this Friday night after dark, which will probably turn into an absolute shit show, we will do a Q&A session. I think we can do that. I think we can have people ask a couple questions in the comments and do a question and answer. Or you can
just created a tips channel, by the way, but
There you
I
go.
already had Patriot Finds for podcast, so I'm going to have to delete one of them.
There you
So
go. Actually,
we've got tips.
Family Crest, let's do this. I'll give you an opportunity to ask one question now. And while you're formulating that question, I have had a bunch of people ask me for updates on the fire that we experienced. And I figured I'd give you guys just a quick update if you're okay with that. You all right? All right. So the insurance claim is moving rapidly. We actually got notification that we're ready to meet with the builder and get the process started again. It's going to take some time, of course. But today I visited our property. So I took a quick video of us driving down the driveway so you can see what it looks like right now. By the way, isn't it the coolest driveway? It's like a third of a mile long. Look at that pond. You can even still see my stripes on my lawn under the snow, because I'm that dad that spends hours out cutting the grass on the weekend on my zero turn. But look at that. Look at that, folks. We've already removed the burnt out structure. To me, this is progress. This means that we are getting closer to being able to get back into our home. So I'll show you just one more quick image that I took just so you can get a still shot of it. And what I thought was amazing is this was done in a day. One day. The company that I hired removed all of that in a single day. And this is just the pile that was left over when I got there this morning to haul out of there. But one more. This is amazing to me. So when I went there this morning, it was probably about, I don't know, 11:30-ish this morning or so. There was the entire basement level was just destroyed, right? So there was like 2 feet full of crud from them tearing the upper floors down, and it all kind of collapsed down in the basement. Probably 2 feet of just debris and water and mud and, you know, items that were smashed and all that stuff. This was about 11:30. All right. So this video that my friend who owns the demolition company sent me absolutely blew my mind. This was just a few hours later of what it looks like right now.
Oh,
Look at that.
what Dad says.
Look at this. They got it all cleaned out in a single day. Amazing, amazing work. So we're going to be able to salvage the foundation. The poured walls are still in fantastic condition. We're going to be able to build back on top of that. We're also going to have the builder dig out what is a pretty sizable crawl space, and we're going to create some additional square footage down in the basement and just basically build our house back on top of the foundation that is in good shape. So there's your update.
Cool.
At this point, I'm shooting to be back into the house by 4th of July. Could be a little bit later,
Oh.
but that's my target.
Nice.
That's my hope.
Family Crest has got a question.
All right, what's your question? Have the Dems completely abandoned the Ukraine money grift? Do you think anything will be done about that theft over there?
No, they added another $800 million to the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. So they're still sending money over there.
But it's not just the Dems, and that's the thing that you have to remember.
It's Republicans, yeah.
Because there are just as many Republicans that are involved in the money laundering operation over there, important Republicans like Lindsey Graham and others. That is not going to go away unless somebody comes in and eliminates those people from Congress, period. There's Republicans that are grifting off this also, because this is how they get rich. This is how they get wealthy. They take that money, they launder it through these foreign agencies, foreign governments. They bring it back into their campaign coffers. They put them into their foundations and their NGOs, and then they set their daughters, their sons, their wives, their sisters, all of their family members up to run these NGOs, and that money is laundered back into their household. That's how they do it. That's the process, right, SK?
Yeah.
That's how they get rich.
I was
What are you
distracted,
researching
and
over
you
there?
knew that.
I
was
did
in the
looking at
comments.
because people were asking about the Discord, and people are confused, and they're like, "I think it's the same Discord that we're already in." The
Really?
Discord that you're already in, of that you guys are saying is mine. It's actually all of ours, and it has been from the day it was started. They just don't do anything in it ever.
We will commit to
us?
spending more time.
I don't
in there.
do anything in the Discord. No, I'm not. I don't have time. But
That's
I'm
just-
sorry. I will do more. I will do more.
We will drop in. All right,
And
folks.
it's also Will's Discord, but Will hasn't been around
We
much
need
on
to have
social
Will
media.
on once in a while.
I
Where's
know.
Will?
I
We need
miss
to get him
Will.
on here. All
I
right.
know.
I'm going to bring up the exit video, and then we're going to wrap. Don't forget, folks, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, a special edition of the Patriot Source podcast with Lisa Logan. It's going to be incredible. She's been continuing her research, this time on the, what is it, America 250?
America 250,
America
which
250.
Donald Trump referenced in his speech. But I don't know that Donald Trump and a lot of people, well, I think they're starting to understand because they've started pulling some of the funding. But America 250 is not what people think it is. And some of the
No.
programs, including in the Republican states, are definitely like Soros organizations that are running these programs like Youth 250, and some of the like Tim Shriver type of stuff is behind some of this.
Nom, did you hide
So-
the video? Where's the video?
No, it all went away. Remember?
No, like in the Dropbox.
It's not in the
What
folder. It's not in the folder. You have to go back to the root. It's not in the episode folder. Go back to the root. I'll find it.
Yeah,
I'll
find it.
Hey,
'Cause I don't know where it's at.
while we're it's in the root podcast folder, but I'll get it. While we're talking about this, hey, tomorrow is AmFest. The Turning Point conference kicks off tomorrow, so we may actually have a special guest joining us tomorrow as well. We're not going to mention who it is just yet because we're not confirmed, but
I think I
somebody's
know
gonna
who
try
it
to
might
stop
be.
by.
Can we
Somebody's
maybe
gonna try
do
to
that
stop by.
over the next couple of days? You think we can invite some of our friends to pop in and say hi?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. All right, ready?
folks. Yep.
We out.
We're out.
See ya.
Good
See you
night, guys.
See you tomorrow.
The bullets and the punches and the riots have been flowing in only one direction for too long.
I've been trying to tell you guys this whole time how corrupt all of these things were, and here we are.
It is not our responsibility to fix something they spent years intentionally trying to destroy. Unity can only happen in a country when you have a people who agree on what the outcomes should be.